What's up, folks? Welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome back to our Sunday night live stream. I'm lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers. Pleased to be joined by the estimable Jerry Hamilton. We got a lot to get into on the show today. Of course, we'll talk about the transfer portal. With the Longhorns get another acquisition, this time at linebacker. We'll discuss it. We'll also talk about any other acquisitions or departures expected there. Junior Day, Jerry and CJ guys were on the scene there for Junior Day, so we'll talk about any news coming from that as well, and any other discussion about the disappointment from Texans fans like myself after CJ Stroud threw 4 picks in the game, 5 turnovers overall. So I'm in a terrible mood as a result of my Texans.
Ron, I didn't see it. Did he have 2 others dropped or almost? Could he have had 6 picks in the first half? That's what people were texting, but I didn't see the game.
Yeah, he had a horrible performance. I mean, wow. It was a full-on meltdown by CJ. But anyway, we don't talk about that. I'm just letting y'all know my mindset. That's why right now I'm probably I'm a bit of a downer right now, but no doubt pick me up was getting Marcus Boswell, the acquisition at the linebacker position. We'll get Jerry's thoughts and talk about it, but whatever you guys want to discuss, your questions, your comments, we'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line, and you can interrupt the show at any time. Just throw out a super chat. All right, Jerry, let's start with Marcus Boswell. I can't wait to go try to find some film on the young man and break it down, but they know they needed, or at least we know they needed, some linebacker depth.
Yes.
This young man, who will be a second-year player now with Texas, perfect player to provide some of that depth, the young depth that Texas needs at linebacker.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, he is 6, he's 2 years removed from high school. That's the thing. After playing 4 years at Lake Travis, he went to prep school for a year, then goes to Akron. So he was about 210 pounds when he left high school. He's around 230 now, works out with Derek Johnson a lot in the Austin area. And look, I think he comes in as a guy who obviously grew up a Texas fan. His father, for those that don't know, go research Mark Boswell, the level of high jumper he was, one of the best in the world, that went to the University of Texas and high jumped at Texas. But Marcus Boswell would be a guy who I think, obviously will come in as a third-team guy, compete for some second-team reps. I mean, I think that's the reality where we're at. But a guy that has 19 tackles in his one season at the Division I level in the MAC, there's playing a lot of Tuesday night football during the conference season, tackle for loss and a sack. A guy who, again, has built out his body. He's a heck of an athlete. Mark Boswell, just go search the dad. But a guy who goes going to fight for those depth positions at Texas at linebacker. And look, Texas needed another linebacker with Division I experience on this team. Rod, we've talked about it a lot, that, that's a position that kind of worried me if there was a rash of injuries. So now we're getting another linebacker that has D1 experience, alleviates some of that. We'll see if Texas is done.
A couple of things I like about this pickup for the Longhorns. Number one, the depth. You talked about it. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You need a depth at linebacker. He provides you with that. And he's young, so still developmental, still a lot of upside that you could, if you're Texas, you can try to obviously, build on that. But I like that he's bigger. I like that he's like, we say 230, probably a little over 6'1", 230. I like that he's a bigger linebacker. And considering, he played 199 snaps, I think, total on defense. I think he had like 95 snaps on special teams as well. So, talking about almost 300 snaps total. But ended up making a lot of plays in them 300 snaps. You end up having an interception, a forced fumble, had 2 fumble recoveries, had 2 pressures in that in those 199 snaps on defense. I thought he made a lot of plays, actually, considering. So I can't wait to kind of dive in to try to see if I can track down, do some rabbit holing, see if I can track down a lot of film on the young man and see, what the raw instincts are like for him. But I like that he's bigger. He seems to be a natural playmaker and seems to be someone, like I said, the transfer portal now, we know with the culture, you're going to be churning out a lot of the bottom of your roster. It's a guy that may stick around for you. At least there's some indicators there, considering, like you said, he grew up probably a Texas fan because of his dad. There's a personal connection there, and maybe he'll stick around for you to maybe develop him a little bit.
Yeah, he better have a good vertical because his dad was one of the best high jumpers in the world. So I would say that. That's one thing I'd say for him, Rod. He better have a good vertical because his pop sure as heck did.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, so he's got some freakish athletic traits.
Yes.
Out there. I mean, that's just genetics. No question about that. I'm with you. So I like the pickup. I mean, it's a quiet one, but so now at linebacker, let's kind of look at the depth overall. You frontline guys, you got Sheen Biles, you got Ty Anthony Smith. I mean, that's one of the. I love that combo. It's a fantastic combo. Where are you at after losing Anthony Hill and Trey Moore, who are opting obviously to go to the NFL, then LaFau and Bo Barnes to the transfer portal? After those frontline guys, you did bring in Cryer as well. So I can't forget about Justin Cryer. Is he basically your second team? Is he on the second team already, or is Brad Spence?
I think a lot of it depends on what happens with Brad Spence. I think, look, if Texas doesn't get another edge overhang linebacker out of the portal, I think that pushes Brad Spence more time playing there, more snaps and reps playing there. Because I do think that having that pass rusher opposite Colin Simmons is going to be very important for this defense and, for the chat, because people say, well, what about Lance Jackson and what about Zena? They're not really overhang linebackers when Muschamp's in a 3-4, a true 3-4. That's going to be more of the Colin Simmons. That's probably going to be more of the Brad Spence if you have a pass rusher. That's a reason they wanted Woods out of Florida. So we'll see where that all goes. But I know the plan has been for Spence to play both this spring. To get some reps at off-ball linebacker, get some reps as that overhang linebacker as well when they're in that front. So I think he's got a lot of experience. I think that is kind of wait and see. And where does Tyler Atkinson fit in? Obviously, he'll start at third team.
That's big.
But Tyler Atkinson, what if he comes in and lights it up like Grayson Littleton?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it out of the question that Tyler Atkinson comes in and shows a lot, because I think he's very football smart. I think he's a very intelligent player. He's going to pick things up pretty quickly. So we'll see where that goes, but that's going to be real competition for Boswell. And Boswell will provide a real push and competition for Atkinson, which I think is just as important, because the last thing you want Atkinson to do is roll in as a second-team guy.
Yeah.
You want that guy to start as a third-team guy and have to work his way up, even though we all think he's going to be a very good football player. And if he goes and beats those guys out, he beats people out. No. But I think Justin Crier's A-gap, B-gap thumper. I think his role is defined. And so this Boswell commitment out of the portal and signing, I think, gives Texas that depth they need. But Rod, what do you think of linebackers? Can we compare this group to last year's group? I have something interesting on that. Since Anthony Hill didn't blitz a whole lot, is Rasheem Biles actually maybe better in college? If Anthony Hill was used in, he tried to help Anthony Hill develop as a linebacker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they took away his greatest strength, which was playing downhill and pass rush.
Yep.
So is Biles interchangeable and maybe more of a playmaker in the passing game because of the way Anthony Hill was used last year versus 2 years ago?
That is good. Especially depending on, I gotta go look at the kind of box blitz rate for Muschamp and go see, but that could be interesting because, man, Biles is active.
Yes,
he's just a really active and productive player. No matter what way they're utilizing him, whether he's downhill, whether he's A gap to obviously C gap to C gap, that kind of guy, or he's blitzing through the A gap. I mean, he's really productive. I can see him being used in a lot of different ways by Muschamp. But I also thought the same thing about Anthony Hill. I thought he was underutilized, especially as a pass rusher.
Yes,
on the edge or even blitzing from the second level. So I think that's the whole point, is that Muschamp's more aggressive.
Yes.
And that PK wasn't aggressive enough.
Yeah.
I could say that I think maybe Anthony Hill is one of the guys that probably would have benefited more from having a more aggressive minded play caller.
I think Anthony Hill would have had 10 sacks under Muschamp.
Yeah. He should have been a double digit sack guy. Like, he had that kind of capability. You forget he had, what was it, 8 sacks?
Yeah.
One of those seasons. I mean, he was really, really close.
I'm not looking. I love Anthony Hill. I'm not saying it's out of the question. Biles isn't the better college linebacker, though. I think it's there for the discussion because Biles makes plays in every way you can as a linebacker. He can get after the quarterback. Pittsburgh blitzed him a lot.
They did.
But then, as much as high as his blitz rate was, he had 2 interceptions. As well. He had a number of passes, deflections. He scored 2 touchdowns.
He takes it to the house. That's the thing about Jerry. He takes it to the house when he gets.
Yeah.
That's when you see like that high school aspect of him where he played. Did he play like running back and wide out? He played everything. He still when he gets the ball in his hands, he's still got some of that actually.
Yeah. And that's kind of the way my discussion point with this is if Biles played in place of Hill in Texas scheme last year, the way Texas used Hill, I think Biles probably would have put up better numbers because Anthony Hill wasn't used downhill and as a pass rusher as much as he should have been for me.
Yeah.
So I think Biles in that scheme would have been in position to make even more plays. Considering how much Anthony Hill played in space last year versus the year before.
No, Biles' instincts are rare. Like he's got really freaky football instincts, man.
Yes.
I mean, he's diagnosing things a lot faster than his peers around him. So that's a nice take, Gary. I can't disagree with you right now because that's a good take.
Yeah.
That in that system that he may have been more productive because Anthony Hill may have been not misused but not weaponized.
Yes.
Obviously I think to reach his ceiling as a player. I think showing off his pass rush really would have done that. All right. Before we get to the question, I know we got some questions, a couple of super chats. Let's thank our sponsor, our friends at Rogue Shop. Before we move on, we appreciate our friends over at Rogue Shop, and you will as well. They've been our Sunday night sponsor for our Sunday night live streams for as long as I've been on, and we really appreciate them. RogueShop.com. Use that discount code on Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from our very special friends over at Rogue Shop, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots. You can have it all. They have it all from oils and creams to flour, gummies, and vitamins. Also, my friends over at Rogue Shop can ship nationwide no matter where you are in this great country of ours. Our friends over at Rogue Shop can get their fantastic products to you, whether you're dealing with anxiety, whether you're dealing with just general stress, with aches and pains from battling Father Time. Maybe it's sleep deprivation for you. You can't get to sleep. Our friends over at Rogue Shop have so many different products, fantastic products that will help you overcome those ailments successfully. So reach out today at rogueshop.com. Remember to use that discount code on Texas. All right, let's get to a couple of super chats. Rocky pours up first. He says, at Jerry, great job covering Junior Day. Best in the biz. Did anything surprise you from this weekend's visits?
Jimmy Callis, the 4-star offensive tackle from Pittsburgh, Central Catholic, showing up. He showed up with his sister. His sister attends Ohio State. So a lot of people just said, oh, he's just going to automatically end up at Ohio State. He was actually the first kid I saw show up Saturday morning. He got there and jumped on the shuttle bus well before. Well, I was just there because I got there early. I left Houston, gave myself 45 minutes to spare in case there's road construction, a wreck, or anything on I-10, flat tire, anything that could happen, right? Well, I got there early, and one kid walked up, and he was big, and he jumped on the shuttle bus, and they just whisked him off to the facility. And I was like, I had to look around to see who that was, and I didn't get a good look at him because he was kind of there right when I was pulling up. And that one surprised me because that's multiple unofficial visits a kid from Pittsburgh's made on his own dime to Austin. Mm-hmm. So Texas is in it for Jimmy Callis, the 6'6", 280-pounder. Yes, his sister goes to Ohio State. Matt Campbell's putting everything into it at Penn State, as he should. He offered him right after he was hired. But I could see Ohio State and Texas battling this out. We'll see if Penn State is able to get in there. Obviously, Peyton Miller from Anna, the center prospect, was there. Great looking kid physically. I just seen him at the Under Armour game. I think Texas is in a pretty good spot there. Brian Swanson, South Oak Cliff, think Texas is in a pretty good spot there. You need to watch Montre Jackson at Lakeview Centennial on Huddle Rod.
Right again.
I think Texas is the favorite for him. He's good. He wants to run 10-2 this spring. That's a big number at 6'1.5", about 175. Let's see if he gets to 10-2. He is really aggressive and explosive downhill, like really explosive down. I think Texas is in a good spot for him. Obviously, Texas offered Ty Knutson, the quarterback in 2027 at Smithson Valley. I think that makes some sense. He's a really good ball handler at the quarterback position, by the way. I mean, really good at the ball, really good at the play fakes, really good manipulating the pocket. I think those are his strengths and making layered throws in the intermediate game as crossers. I think he does a really good job there. And I think with Lacey signing in 25 and Diabell in 26, they went after Kavian Bryant. They didn't really go big game hunting NIL on him like Tech did, but they were in there. And I think they realized, okay, guys are going to want to go somewhere they can feel like they can play earlier than waiting behind the KJ Lacey Diabell competition winner next year. And I think Ty Knutson, from a development standpoint, may be a better fit in that regard, or Texas is going to have to find a quarterback that's willing to come in that situation. We'll see if that ends up being Knutson or somebody else, but not that surprising that he ended up being the offer. They went to see him. They brought him up to a couple of games this year. Now we'll see what happens with that. They made another offensive line offer, the Jasper Ngokwe, I think it is, out of Richardson High. I saw him a year ago when I went to see Jamion Winfield, the stud D lineman who signed with USC. He's a hooper. He's like 6'6", 280, 6'5", 280. Really good feet, really good basketball player. I mean, he knows the Ochos through church, I believe it is. Somebody told me they were related. He told me they were not related, but I guess they go to they know each other through church and that sort of thing. But doesn't mean he's going to Texas. But Texas did offer him, and he's a good athletic upside prospect. So it wasn't as big a crew in terms of numbers, and we talked about that. We weren't expecting as many guys to attend this junior day. The Texas staff will be out on the road again this week, looking at the top 27s for them, evaluating those guys. We expect more offers to go out in this last week on the road. They were on the road a few days last week, but the portal window, it crushes some of your days. You'd be on the road if you have visitors. Yeah. I mean, if you have an offensive line visitor, Kyle Flood can't be on the road. If you have a D-line visitor, Kenny Baker can't be on the road. So you lose some days there. But junior day, it was a good for the number of kids. There was a lot of talent on hand. Maybe just not as big a group as there's been in past years. And I think more things will happen with spring unofficial visits in 27.
All right, good stuff there, Jerry. Thorough. We appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat as well. All right, Bean 9597 up next. Thank you for the super chat. It says Sark said plenty of times what type of D he wanted to play, and PK didn't do it. But hey, after a rewatch, Lockett reminded me of AD on that touchdown. Oh, that was a nice touchdown because the coverage wasn't terrible.
Right.
But it was talking about concentration, great concentration on the catch.
Yeah.
And kind of great body control on that catch too by Lockett. I mean, Sark likes him because it seems like when he's in there, that Sark, went out of his way to try to scheme him some shots.
Yeah.
Right. Then it seemed like he got some shots.
Yeah.
Other guys didn't. So Sark likes Lockett. He did anyway.
I think the thing with Lockett for me, going all the way back to high school, is one, he was a young senior. Okay, very body needed time to catch up, but young in age too. The one thing he always could do, he didn't have to create a lot of separation to go make a big play because he has great body control and great timing. He has, I've said before, on the 6'1.5", 6'2" receiver, he's got the biggest hands I've ever seen, 11 inches. Wow. And he's got super long arms. Yeah. He's like a +7 wingspan guy, too. So he's like 79 on a wingspan, 11-inch hands. And he can really jump and leave his feet with timing. He does a great job contorting his body to make contested catches. So from that perspective, he is a valuable piece to a wide receiver room. He's not gonna be as fast as an AD. He's not gonna run away from people. He's not just gonna take the top off of defense and get behind people. That's not his game. I think he's going to be more in that 4.6, high 4.5s range. But what you can do with him is if you're under duress, you can area code a football and he can go make a play like the Michigan TD Rock, because that was contested coverage.
It was, yeah.
And he had to contort his body. He had to have great body control, but you can't give it away with your eyes. You have to understand how to use your body control and your ability to go win contested catches. And I think that's his strength as a wideout.
No, that was a really impressive play. No, I like that. And about the PK thing, I totally agree. It's like I don't know how often Sark had to go in there and try to coach up PK on game plans, but he did imply that at the press conference talking about Muschamp when he said head coach of the defense, and it'll give him more time to focus on the offense. And I think Sark wanted a more aggressive defense. He did say that several times, and whether that was talking about coverage or whether it's talking about the front, I think he's talking about both. And I think ultimately Sark being an offensive guy, him being his expertise, I think he saw the vulnerabilities in PK's approach because PK couldn't always successfully tie the coverages to the front. And that I think that's where he struggled at times. Muschamp won't struggle there because Muschamp's he has a firm grasp of both, and especially being a safety, he won't struggle with the coverages part of it. And he's got somebody trusting in Blake Gideon to come back and kind of help him, kind of diagnose and figure out what coverages go best with what fronts he wants to run, and the personnel that he has there too, which Gideon actually has a firm grasp on that too. So I just think that's what it was. And I will say this, I don't have my notes with me. They're in the house, but all the indicators of aggression, man coverage, blitz rates, stunt rates, simulated pressure rates, I'm sure there are several others too. They did all increase for PK this season. So he was getting more aggressive. He just wasn't as aggressive as Sark wanted him to be. I just think that's what it was. He was getting more aggressive, though. So I think he was listening to Sark. It just didn't happen on the timeline I think Sark needed. All right. Thank you, Bean. Appreciate the super chat. Next up, Juan. Thank you, Juan, for the super chat. Says that Jerry, not naming names, did you see any portal visitors? Don't name names.
I think there was one that was known.
Okay.
It was Melvin Saina, who was already signed.
Yeah. All right. That's good. No, we'll take that, no doubt. Do we think, before we move on to the super chats here and other questions, because obviously the portal is officially closed, but doesn't mean you're not going to hear more news because there is a 48-hour business day.
Yes.
Delay on the portal entrance into the news being announced a lot of times. And then you do have MLK Day.
Yes.
So, that thing can run. We can talk about Wednesday or Thursday.
I think it's going to be Wednesday. I really do. So I think Monday obviously is not a business day. So I think it rolls into Tuesday. And I think it's going to be Wednesday before some of these names are populating in the portal.
Okay. Do we feel like Texas, when that hits, will have more like from this point on? Because right now Longhorn fans feel good about where things are with the roster. More departure news or acquisition news in this little window?
If you made me bet, I would bet there's probably a guy or two on the Texas side that is still working through finalizing some.
Okay. So negotiations.
Yeah. So that doesn't mean anything would ever become public.
Okay.
That is somebody who's in the portal right there within that 48-hour window, maybe just kind of finishing up, closing out, their discussions and getting their next year NIL contract where it needs to be. I think, I think Texas will continue to add people. I mean, they have 15 right now.
Yeah.
They're going to add another interior offensive lineman.
Please do.
They will add another interior offensive lineman. I think they could add an edge, overhang linebacker, whatever you want to call it, if somebody is available that piques the interest and they can make happen. I think the same is potential for a disruptive defensive lineman. I don't think as highly on the probability of that right now, but I wouldn't rule it out. And then there could always be an experienced wideout to kind of complete your room and guard yourself if there's injury, but I don't think that's a guarantee either for right now. But I do think there's going to be more additions because we had 16 to 18. They're going to add another entry offensive lineman. That gets you to 16. Does anybody think they're done there? I don't. They're going to get – and it could be a depth piece at corner, right? I mean, it could be something else added there, kind of like in Boswell today.
Yeah.
It gives you that depth piece, maybe somebody you want to look at developing too that has more than 1 year. I think that number is going to run up there towards 18.
I like that. All right. Good stuff. Next up, super chat from Jay. Thank you, Jay. Says I just read Jay's comment. Do y'all think Irvin's dealer can retire after this playoff run?
I just wonder if Miami wins the title, where he's going to take belt to arse after the season's over.
I have not watched the SNL skit about. Did they have an SNL skit about Michael Irvin?
I have no.
I heard those at SNL. I've not. I've seen it on my timeline, and I don't make like. I don't make SNL like appointment viewing for me, but obviously I'll watch it every now and then. Especially if I hear something, and I did hear that they did like a Michael Irvin skit. So like the Michael Irvin is on obviously Miami. They're on a historic run, and Michael Irvin seems like he's on he's high off of the success of the Miami Hurricanes. Okay, that's it. That's what it guys. He's high off their success.
Hey, while we have that question, Rod, what are your thoughts on the game tomorrow night? Last time I'm going to talk to you before the game, man.
Yeah, we're actually going to be I haven't heard anything other than that, but I think we're going to be on during like the start of it at least.
Yeah.
Do a little live watch with the winning drive. But no, I'm fascinated by the matchup because Miami has a clear lines of scrimmage advantage. Like that's not even a question. But for Indiana, they have dealt with that before. Like they're not always the dominant team on the lines of scrimmage. They win with discipline, preparation, and almost like I don't say flawless execution, but high level execution.
Yep. And
they are probably the best in the country at basically in critical moments, being clutch in critical moments. Like I've watched them over. They're so clutching. I think I don't know if they still do it. Third down, for sure. They were like top 3 in the country in third down rate. Like they are just clutching critical, and they're so disciplined and well prepared. They don't beat themselves. Yeah, you got to beat them.
Right.
Texas will beat themselves a lot. We saw that penalties and turnovers. No, not this team. Indiana doesn't do that. That's not kind of football they play. Like they almost have a service academy feel in that sense.
Yes, and they were third in penalties to Army and Navy.
Yeah. So man, quarterback advantage is Indiana. So I'm picking Indiana. At quarterback, I usually go quarterback advantage and a coach advantage. I'm not sure who has a coach advantage, but right now it feels like Signetti to me is just. But I like Cristobal. I think I love his fire. He's kind of old school. And
I think one of the big things for me, Rod, is how is this game going to be officiated? Because Miami can get a little chippy on the whistle after the whistle. They're going to have to be very disciplined because everybody's going to be hyped, but Miami's going to be super hyped. This game's in Miami, right? All the Miami contingent of former players is going to be there, right? Everybody knows it. They're going to be jacked up. The players are probably going to be a little overly emotional. But how this game is refereed, I think is going to be interesting for me because how much contact do they allow right after the whistle? Because Miami's going to push the edge. They're going to push the envelope.
Yeah.
Push it to the edge because they're going to try to intimidate. They're going to try to say, we're the most physical team on this field and you're going to feel it for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
How do the refs attack this game? That could be something hidden that we don't talk about that will be interesting to see early on.
And you're right, because that's Indiana. They consider that to be their edge. They're always the most physical team.
Yeah,
they're the most physical team out there. And you're right. Miami's the line of scrimmage. So Miami got the line of scrimmage advantage, but Indiana has the coach and the quarterback advantage. That's a push for that go either way. I'm going to take Indiana though. I'm taking Indiana.
I like
the show. I'm going with Hoosiers Part 2.
There you go.
Indiana's going to win the national title, and they're going to make a Hoosiers Part 2 about Signetti and Mendoza and the run that they had, winning the Heisman, all that. Hoosiers Part 2, and I'm all for it. Boom.
You know what's crazy? It's almost like two. Normally, when you get to this point, you're like, oh, somebody feels like a team of destiny. Do you feel like both are team of destinies in a weird way? Because Miami was counted out of the playoffs.
Yep.
They weren't going to get in. Nobody, okay, they're going to get left out. Then they get flipped at the last second over Notre Dame, which they should have always been ahead of Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
They both feel like a team of destiny, and that's weird that two teams feel like a team of destiny.
It's a great point. I just feel like Carson Beck is the one thing that about Miami I just don't like. But I agree. Carson Beck has been great in the playoffs. He's been doing his thing, but I still don't trust Carson Beck, and so I'm gonna go with Indiana.
Yeah,
but Carson Beck will prove me wrong. He probably will prove me wrong. Who knows? He's been doing it so far. All right. No, I think it's gonna be a really good game. Actually, I'm excited about it. It's a hell of a weekend for football too. Well,
and yes, Sandman, A&M will raise a banner if Miami wins. They'll find a way. They'll have a parade.
Yeah. I've seen the Aggie stuff on Twitter. All right, let's get back to it. Thank you, Jay, for that. We appreciate that one. CFB Short says, what's the situation with Prince Will Umanmielen?
Messy. Ole Miss is contesting. I'm glad to see schools start contesting some of this stuff, by the way. I think the whole Mensa thing that's my problem with all this right now, honestly. Mm-hmm. And how that can actually screw a team's season on the 24th or whatever hour, the last hour. I'm glad that we're starting to see some teams contest some of this stuff. And obviously the Ole Miss LSU, Ole Miss versus Lane Kiffin stuff that's where some things are going to be contested. But look, you have to see what happens first with that before anything else. But I think it's, I think the key there was if things open up for him, Texas will do their best to get him on campus.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best I can say right now.
Okay.
But let's see if things actually open up for him.
One of my favorite names in college football.
Yes.
Fantastic football name. Just be honest. All right. Thank you for that. Juan's up next with a super chat. Thank you, Juan. I like this conversation. Juan wants to know also, what are you all thinking of Gary Patterson talking to USC about the DC job? Damn, that would be a hell of a move. Because I've been asking, and y'all heard me on this channel. Like, what the hell's going on with Gary Patterson? Is he done? Is he just because I know he could be just retired and done with it, waiting on his college football Hall of Fame, nomination and bid, whatever it is. But if you can pull Gary Patterson out of whatever he's in, this retirement or vacation, whatever he's on right now, that would be a great move. That'd be fantastic because I think he's one of the best defensive minds in college football, has been for the last couple of decades. Helped Texas actually help PK get the run of the land in the Big 12, gave him the Cliff Notes on the Big 12 ecosystem, and helped Texas really start to improve drastically in pass coverage when he came to Texas. And I think personnel-wise, as an evaluator, he may be even better than as a defensive mind. His evaluations are.
He's been tremendous at that. I mean, Rod, before we were working together for years and years, if he offered somebody on defense, especially if it was outside of a major city, I'd go back and take a second or third look. I was like, I know I'm not better. I'm pretty good at this, but I'm not better than that guy. So I better go look. When I was part of National Rankings, I better go look at who he just offered. Maybe even call the high school coach. What do I need to know about this guy? He's as good at it. Him and Art Briles now were, and they're both on their sides of the ball, were great evaluators in Texas high school football. Yeah. Great. Not good, great. I think that'd be a fabulous hire for USC. Could he bring that? Could that be? And I'm not saying it's the same. I'm not saying USC will win a national championship or Texas. It's hard. Could he be that must-chant from a physicality standpoint? Be very demanding.
Yeah,
maybe what Lincoln Riley needs. That voice on the defense. There's some similarity there.
That's a great point because Lincoln Riley's laid back, chill. but everybody knows GP's got some intensity to him. Garrett Patterson he's intense.
Yeah.
Everybody know that. Oh, that's good. I like that.
There's some similarity there.
And the head coach of the D, he would be the head coach of your defense.
No doubt.
Like you wouldn't even question. You'd be like, no, he can do what he wants to do. He's head coach of the defense. Yeah. You got to worry about it. Jerry, I like that. I like that comparison, though. That's bad news for the rest of college football, but that's a good point. I like that. All right, getting back to it. Tony, what's up, Tony? Good to hear from you. Thank you for the super chat. Says, he asked Carson Beck what classes he has, and he said, does it have any classes? Do these guys still have any do these guys have to actually take class? Yes, they do. His class, he was done with class because this is from the previous semester rolled over.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. So he's not taking, he has one game left. He's off to the draft. So he's not taking a class this spring semester.
Yes,
exactly. But he hasn't had to. The great thing about him, and I'm not saying I know his class schedule, right? All I can keep up with is the interceptions the last 2 years. But well, I mean, he's playing better though. He plays better. He may have played his best game the last one in clutch situations, but he didn't have to take the full boat of hours, because the reality is, what's the chances he's going to actually come back and complete a master's, right? So he didn't have to take the 12-hour boat of classes. I was talking to somebody about this today, and they're like, I bet he was taking 6 hours last year, his last year. And because you're not going to take 12, because then you're not going to be in a class now because you're off to the NFL draft. Yeah. So and he completed his 4-year degree 2 years ago, and I'd be shocked if he took a full boat of classes in any semester.
Yeah, he was enrolled in some classes last semester, but just not for the spring. So
it sounded funny though what he said, because
it did sound funny.
It was a great soundbite.
It is. And, I will say this. A lot of these guys, they're smart. They're coming in. I will say this. Guys come in now. They come in early. Like a lot of early enrollees. You see that even in Texas. The guys come in with a lot of college credits already. That wasn't really the case as much when I was coming out. They come in with a lot of college credit already from high school. That's why they come in early or able to come in early. Yeah. And then they're already like on an accelerated pace. So a lot of these guys, I'll give them credit. Like they end up graduating, and some of these guys started working towards their masters and stuff like that. Like that's so it's. I know some people say they don't care about education. I don't disagree with that. I don't think they care about education either. But I will say a lot of the guys are on track to graduate, and they end up graduating at some point during this journey.
Rod, it's a great point. Byron Murphy left DeSoto with an associate's degree.
It's crazy.
I mean, he had associate's degree hours leaving DeSoto High School. I remember talking to him, and then I went back to Claude Math and said, "Hey, this is what he said to me." He said, "Oh yeah," and I was like, and I knew guys were getting ahead, but I mean, when you leave high school with associate's degree hours, credit hours, I mean, essentially is like you're halfway done.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not all the guys, but I'm telling you, a lot more of the guys than y'all realize are really buttoned up about the academic side of things. Like because they understand this. It's a business for them, that they're a business property, and they treat it that way. All right. Getting back to it. J Dog the Boss says, can we mention how bad CJ Stroud is? Yes, CJ. J Dog the Boss. I did it. When we opened up the broadcast, the live stream, I've talked about, I'm a Texans fan, how bad CJ Stroud has been. The last couple of games, actually.
Yeah.
He's been pretty damn bad. I don't know what's going on with CJ Stroud. Because this is the thing about it. The one thing with that defense being as good as it is, all right, you're talking about top 2-3 defense in the NFL, depending on what metric you want to look at. All you got to do is don't screw it up. Like, don't. You know what I mean? Don't mess it up. Don't give it to the other team. And CJ don't understand that. I don't know what's going on with him. He doesn't get it. Like, CJ is way too careless with the football, considering their game plan, their blueprint to win is lean on the D.
Yeah.
Just lean on the D. Hey, hand it off, check it down, your deal save you. And they didn't do that, and they ended up.
What do you think that does to the locker room?
Oh, it's brutal. Yeah. It splits it.
It's a long off season now, man.
It divides that locker room. Yeah. Because everybody knows, like, hey, man, the way to win, you trying to go make play. Why are you trying to go, obviously do more than is necessary? All you got to do is go out there and do your job, and let the defense do its job, and you'll be in every game at the end. But anyway, y'all didn't come here to hear me talk about the Texans and complain about them. But I am proud of the season they had. They did have a good season. And D'Amico Ryan, that defense, this is the freakiest thing about the Texas defense, and I'll shut up. They have a top 3 defense in the league with almost very little to no disguise or blitz. And it's the most fascinating thing that the NFL has seen in a long time, because they literally will line up and show you what they're doing and just do it really good and effectively. Like everybody else is using disguise, and they're changing the fronts in the last second and shifting the safeties, moving things around. I mean, that's what the best defense in the NFL do. And yet D'Amico Ryan's like, nah, we good. Let's line up. Let's line up and go. It's like, what? And they're really good at it. Didn't work out for them, obviously, in the past. But I think that's more because the offense wasn't playing complementary football. All right, getting back to it. That's enough Texans talk. DC Mountain Lion. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Very kind of you. Said good evening from Taos, New Mexico. Whoa, appreciate that. Beautiful.
Snow there.
I bet it's nice there. I'm about to say, I bet it's nice there. With the chaos during the portal season, how many years until we have super conferences and better regulations? Ooh, and 2, red or green chili or Christmas? Red.
I think you meant for Christmas. Red or green chili?
Red or green chili or for Christmas. Hooker boys. Oh, red or green. Oh man, I'm a little confused. Let me think about that. The second part there.
The first part, I wish I had the answer. Look, since all this began, I thought we'd end up with 2 like 24 or 32 team super conferences, and the rest of the guys would go to spring football or whatever they call G5 if they keep it in the fall. I think spring football could be a really good idea, and they have their own championship. But that's not going to work with one portal window either. So it's probably going to stay fall ball. How long it'll take, I don't know, man. I hope it comes fast. Like I think the playoffs need to get the 16 settle and be done. I think we need to have 2 super conferences. Everybody else plays in G5. They have their own playoff, their own championship. It's kind of like the NIT.
I like that.
That's where I think it needs to head. How quickly it happens. It may not happen until after 2031 because that's when the next TV contract negotiations are. I think that's too long, but I really could see that being around the TV contract talks for the conferences for the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yep, and something else that is going to, I think, expedite this move, hasten this move that you're talking about, DC Mountain Lion, to the super conferences and everything. There are already some decision makers that are already complaining about the current structure with the current salary cap that is too low. The $20 million is too low. This comes from Ross Dellinger. Miami AD told Yahoo Sports it's time to open the market.
Well, and I think what they want to force is kind of what Bobby's been talking about. I think this is their way of doing it. And I agree. I think we all agree with Bobby on this, is that, look, should the University of Texas and Ohio State, and throw out the other school you want to, Georgia, right? Should they get the same rev share as Grand Canyon University, who doesn't play football, or a G5 Tulane, who does play football?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from a basketball standpoint, should Grand Canyon have the same rev share possibility as Duke in Kentucky? Probably not. And I that'll be interesting to see how that ends up coming to fruition, because I do think it will at some point in time. And it may all just fall towards 2031 with TV contracts. But I agree with Bobby on this. It's not something I want to go on a tangent about necessarily, but I do think there's a difference in, look, how many people watch the Big Ten? How many people watch the SEC? How many people watch the ACC in basketball? Whatever you want to say. It's obviously those schools are generating a lot more money, and should they be subjected to the same rev share for the people who don't have the TV eyeballs? I think it's a great point that Bobby's always made, and I agree with that. And I do think that will change over the long haul as well. There's a lot that's going to have to change. I mean, a lot. There has to be guardrails. Look, my big thing, and I know that this gets into something totally different, But look, we need to go to 2-year contracts on this, and each side has a buyout. I mean, the university, if after a year you said, "Oh, we were wrong on this one, we'll release you to the portal," you should have a buyout. And you know what? If the kid and his agent are at a school a year and they signed a 2-year deal, and they're like, "This is not really working for me. I want to go test the free agent market." Okay, well, you have a buyout too.
Yep.
That's the only way to me that this is going to work long term. There has to be consequences on both sides. Look, I get what the colleges are doing, but I don't necessarily like after a year cutting half your recruiting class and say, it's not going to work. I don't like half the kids in a recruiting class can turn around and say, "I'm out," with no consequence on either side. I don't think that's right. But I also know we only call this college athletics now. It's not really college athletics. So that's the hard thing.
Yeah. To your point, the most watched college football teams from 2025 are all SEC and Big Ten teams. I can go through them, but it's all SEC and Big Ten teams, to your point. And it was also the Notre Dame AD who also pointed out, he told Yahoo Sports that he thought the $20 million cap is too low. And they thought that an uncapped market could reach $30 to $40 million rosters, maybe even $50 million rosters for Texas. So that would obviously that'd be advantage Texas. So to your point, DC Mountain Lion, I do think inevitably that'll happen. The super conferences need to happen so you can collectively bargain. Yeah. That's why it needs to happen. So you can narrow it down to just, all right, these guys, this is major college football. And then now can we all just collectively bargain about transfer portal rules and about whatever, salary cap, whatever you want to collectively bargain about. Let's get these rules in place, and then we all have to abide by them.
Yeah. And Daniel Ornato says this, and this goes to a lot of things in college athletics. Well, air quotes for the podcast people, because I just call it college athletics because I have to, I think. Daniel Ornato, we need transparency. The one thing that I saw this year in college football that I said they got it right, and this goes beyond even rev share and all the things we're talking about here, is the ACC having live look-in at reviews. Live this call made on a review. Mm-hmm. To this point, I think people just want transparency. And I thought the ACC, that's the one thing in college football this year that I said they got it right on every level they could. Because that is, with all the calls in the SEC, you think Auburn fans wouldn't have liked the live look-in and an explanation on why some of the calls were made against them in the Oklahoma game and Georgia game? I mean, that ACC, good job, good on y'all. Y'all did the best thing I saw in college football this year, honestly.
Yeah, and they got it from like the XFL, right?
Yeah,
the XFL do that. So I want to say it was one of those startup leagues that did that, and it was people liked it. It was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I liked it because they like the transparency. They like if you're gonna huddle up as a group of officials and talk about an important call, and then come out and just say, this is what we decided. We'd be nice to listen in on the call in the discussion. Like, what are you guys talking about? What did you guys consider? Why did you rule it one way or the other? And yeah, I'm with you.
I'm going to take it a step further. And I haven't said this before, but I'd love to know what the chat thinks about this. Rod, what you think? Matt, backstage, what you think about this? With all the issues that are starting to pop up with point shaving. And I'm not accusing anybody, but you know what I'd love? I'd love a weekly teleconference with SEC officials where the media can go in and ask them questions. Hey, what did y'all review this game? What did y'all find on your review of this game? Were there 7 holding calls missed on Colin Simmons? Or are we all nuts?
That's good.
Because here sports are really become scary when there's this level of gambling going on nowadays. And we're seeing too many things pop up of players getting in trouble. A NBA head coach how many more things do we need?
Yeah.
I mean, NBA refs in the past have gotten in trouble. And I'm not sitting here accusing, but I am saying, look, man, gambling is far more prevalent, and it's accepted more. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but
it's mainstream.
Let's have the head officials SEC has a weekly teleconference with the media.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about, okay, yeah, there were 3 calls in this Georgia Auburn game. We looked back on, and they were incorrect calls. There needs to be some accountability.
And that's the last word you said there, Jerry, is why they won't do it. Because then ultimately people will start to tally.
Yeah.
The number of missed calls you got and all this kind of stuff. And then they don't want that kind of accountability.
They're doing it in the home office.
Yeah, they do exactly. The conference is definitely doing it. They're doing it, but they don't want the fans to start being able to do it on their own. Yeah. They don't want that kind of transparency. But I agree with Jerry, because of gambling, because at every level, players, coaches, officials, we've seen the corruption now. It has infiltrated every level.
Yep.
And for them to act like, hey, we don't need to be upfront and get ahead of it, I think is a mistake. I'm with you. I think transparency is the way to do it. I love it. And on the field or court or whatever, and off, do it both ways.
Yeah.
And that way, I think the corruption loses its power, if you will. All right, getting back to it. Let's get to it. Thank you for that super chat. That was a good one. Jonah Williams enthusiast. Always good to hear from you. Off topic, but Jerry, did you ever get to see Stanley Johnson play in high school? Grew up going to all those games and still haven't seen anything like it. Stanley Johnson.
I'm trying to think. I don't think I ever saw. I was trying to think if I saw him in AAU. I think I saw him in AAU. He played for Sean Miller at Zona. I'm trying to think about the year. I was just looking back. Did he play on the same AAU team or program? Was he younger when Jordan Hamilton was coming up? I was trying to connect my times there. I don't think I did back in the day. I can't remember. I probably saw him in an AAU tournament when he was younger, though. But hell of a talent.
All right, thank you, Jonah Williams enthusiast. We appreciate that. Let's thank our sponsor at Rogue Shop one more time before we approach the end of tonight's live stream. Thanks to our friends at Rogue Shop. We appreciate them, and you will as well, no matter if you're dealing with general aches and pains from battling Father Time or from your playing days, or maybe general anxiety, or maybe it's sleep deprivation, having a hard time getting to sleep. Our friends at Rogue Shop, they have so many fantastic products that can help you overcome those ailments successfully. Reach out today at rogueshop.com. They have it all, from oils and creams to flour, gummies, and vitamins. Use that discount code you see on your screen right there on Texas, and you'll get a very special discount from our very special friends over at Rogue Shop, bringing real plant medicine back to its roots, and they ship nationwide. No matter where you are in this great country of ours, our friends at Rogue Shop can get their products to you. So reach out today, rogueshop.com, and thank you very much for sponsoring our Sunday night live stream. All right, Juan's got a question here. He said, or at least a comment, says, I bet Patterson takes the job and DC for a year. Lincoln leaves for Tech. Patterson leaves for the Baylor head coach job. Damn, that's a good one.
There's a lot of bad blood between Baylor and Gary Patterson. That would be an interesting one. I don't know. Gary, it's tough, man, as a head coach. I don't know. As a DC, absolutely. If I'm Lincoln Riley, I think everybody gets sick of hitting the tile list around at some point, man. And you can only do that for so long unless it's your actual job and you just live for golf every day. But I don't know about Baylor. There's a lot of bad blood there now.
Interesting. Yeah. I feel like Patterson's waiting on something too. I do. I feel like, but I feel like he's fine waiting it out and it never happening.
Yeah.
I feel like he's like, no, if I'm gonna get back in it.
I agree with you, Rod. I agree.
You know what I mean? He's like, if this the ideal one opens up, I'm ready to roll. But if not, I'm not forcing it. He's like, no, and I think that's why you haven't heard much from Gary Patterson. I do think he is fine with the perfect scenario for him, or ideal scenario, not happening at all.
Yeah.
He's not going to force the issue. But I love the thought of getting Gary Patterson back in things. All right. Thank you for that. And how about this question in things? I think this is a good one from Jordan. Thank you, Jordan, for the question. Is this the best offense Sark has had?
Worthy and AD Mitchell on and off. The tough thing with that question is Texas had such bad luck with running back injuries for a 2 or 3 year period. Like, that's the tough thing for me. So Jonathan Brooks tears his ACL against TCU. How did that change the rest of Texas season?
Yeah.
The next year, Cedric Baxter shreds his knee when he was about to take off as a player.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do for your season? So they've had some real running back injury issues. I mean, Arch is your best quarterback because of the mobility.
Best quarterback. Totally agree with that.
Nick Townsend will still be a little young at tight end.
So it's not your best tight end necessarily.
Yeah, I think he needs one. I think that would be year 3 for him. Year 2 is kind of his takeoff, begin the ascend year. Then Emory Winston gets some time.
Where do you rank the wide receiving trio? Is the best wide receiving trio a room Sarkis had?
I think it's. I know this is crazy to say because Worthy was so fast and A.D. Mitchell put up the time he did. I think it may be their best size athletic combination at wide receiver he's had. Because I mean, Cam Coleman's a big dude. Ryan Wingo's a big dude, and they are not slow. Emmett Mosley's going to run faster than people think, and he's a big slot receiver. So what does Jermaine Bishop look like?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to be super quick. I mean, he's probably a 3.95 shuttle guy if he trains for it. You know, he's that type of guy. So that size, speed, athleticism combo is going to be their best. Now, I think a big part of that's Ryan Wingo's got to catch the football a little more consistently too.
Fair.
That factors in the best.
O-line does too.
Yeah. I mean, Trevor Goosby's out for the spring with the shoulder. A shoulder procedure, which is going to actually allow them the opportunity to build some depth there this spring more so. Because somebody's going to be getting starter reps that would have been getting second team reps.
That's true.
A third team is going to be getting second team reps. Running back, it's not the most talented group.
No.
That's obviously Brooks and Baxter. I mean, yes, Roschon and Bijan. But I'm talking about once they built the program up.
Yeah, you inherited those guys.
Yeah. And I think Brooks and Baxter became a really, really good duo until Brooks got injured.
Mm-hmm.
I know Baxter was nicked up. But the injury issues at running back, that makes it hard to say. Yeah. Because if Jonathan Brooks had stayed healthy, how would that season have ended?
No, that would have been you're right about that because, I mean, that's a Doak Walker Award winner if he's healthy. Like he does. I think he probably wins that. And then, I think Jeff's hot take is that they win a national title that year. I think he said if he's healthy.
Well, I mean, look, does Texas get to the national championship game with a healthy Cedric Baxter 2 years ago?
Yeah.
From the 1 yard line, he probably gets it in.
He's probably your guy.
You're probably not forced thinking you have to run toss sweep to try to get it in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Running back injuries have been big for Sark at Texas.
That's why you got to have multiple guys too for Sark. He's got that lesson you got to learn. You need to get that young buck, Derek Cooper ready to go immediately. All right, good stuff there, Jerry. Good stuff, guys. Appreciate all the super chats and all the. Oh, we got a super chat here that I missed here, and I apologize. Justin, thank you, Justin, for the super chat. Says, do we know when winter conditioning will start? Need to get y'all some TC Stings hats.
Yes, Justin, please, please do.
I'm down.
Bring it over to Friendswood High School Friday night basketball game. I'll be there. All right. I don't know when winter conditioning starts. The coaches are on the road this week. Players are getting acclimated. We'll check, but I'm guessing that is 2 weeks out.
Okay.
Week and a half.
Freshmen
have to do all their battery tests, get cleared.
Yep.
So that's normally a 48, 72-hour process. Tomorrow's MLK Day. We'll check. We'll try to get you an answer on that.
It used to feel like college football's offseason was so long
Yeah.
And now it feels shorter and shorter because the playoffs are longer, and then you got the national title creeping into.
That's a great point, Rod.
Right, and then now spring is feels like it comes real quick. And then you got the transfer portal in between that, so you're really locked in there. And then you'll get spring, and just feel. I'm happy about it. By the way,
Yeah.
It
definitely has more of an NFL feel to it, right?
Yeah, it feels like it's more of an all-year thing now. It used to be seasonal. It's no, it ain't seasonal. All right, thank you guys for the super chat. Thank you, Justin. We appreciate that as well. Thank you guys for all the questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them. If you would like, you can direct them to the gentleman at Coffin Football. One of them joining us right now, Jerry, along with my man Bobby Burton as well. That'll be at 8:15 bright early tomorrow morning. Also tomorrow we'll have our the winning drive, our prime time edition at 7:15. That'll be myself on there. CJ Vogel will join me as well. We have not been confirmed to doing a live watch. I don't know if somebody thought I said basically the show is going to turn into a live watch of the national title game, but we'll be doing a show while it's going on, and y'all know I'll be distracted. So we'll basically be just watching the game, doing the show. So hopefully you guys will join us. Also, thank you to Matthew behind the scenes. He's the best in the business. Nobody does it better. We really appreciate his efforts. Jerry, thank you for all you do as well. Oh, let me remind you, you can get still a month subscription. Thank you, Matthew, for just $1. Best deal you're going to get. If you're a ball on the budget, you'll love it. $1 is all it takes to get you 1 month of coverage here at On Texas Football, at ontexasfootball.com, to get the all of the nuggets about Portal Madness. And Jerry and Jeff and CJ and Blake and Bobby do a great job of getting all those great nuggets up on the board for you up at ontexasfootball.com. So right now you can get all of that for $1. Great way for you to preview the best Texas football coverage out there. All right. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Jerry. For Matthew, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Berries. Until next time, hook 'em horns.